He's gone. He couldn't go all the way.
But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs?
We talking about practice.
You play to win the game.
Playoffs?
It's like taking poison, like rat poison.
It's Division I football. It's the Big 12. It ain't intramurals.
All right, well, we usually just start our podcast off with just a little introduction of you and just kind of a little bio of your life and what you've kind of done coming up to this point.
Well, first off, it's great to be here, man. And
Thanks.
I think the reason that you're having me on the show as a sports podcast is I grew up swimming. So we're going to switch the name to Between the Two Goalposts to Between the Lane Lines today. You down for that?
Between the lane lines.
All right.
All right. Just for today. I mean, it's starting to get hot in Texas, so let's get in the water. So I grew up swimming, man. Grew up on the East Coast. Played a lot of sports growing up, but then got really into swimming in high school. Got recruited to the University of Texas, and then went on to swim in the 2004, 2008, and 2012 Olympic Games. In 2004, I broke the world record in the 100 and 200 breaststroke. And then from 2004 to 2012, how old are you, bud?
I'm 9. So,
9. So this is all before your time. It's all good.
Yeah. 2016, he slid into the world.
2016, yeah. So, but from 2004 to 2012, I was the number one breaststroker in the world. So, a lot of high performance swimming, a lot of high performance competing. I traveled the world. Probably one of the more notable races that we can talk about if you want to is in Beijing when Michael Phelps was making his 8 gold medal run. I was on that relay that won that gold medal. So I have 6 Olympic medals to my name, 3 golds, 1 silver, and 2 bronze. And one of those gold medals is from at Olympic Games. It was very much a don't screw it up moment because as a relay athlete, you didn't want to, you wanted to make sure that Michael got his 8. He's a record breaking, but it was an incredible event. Yeah. So a lot of, we can talk about the Olympics, we can talk about whatever, but, and now, since leaving, I retired in 2012. I built a business after that. Pretty competitive in the business world. I sold my business in 2019 and then came back in right after COVID and started another company. And that was pretty quick. It sold in 18 months. And then now I work for USA Swimming as our director of national junior team, which means every kid under the age of 18 that is the best of the best in our country. My job is to make sure that they are ready for our Los Angeles 2028 Olympic Games, and then 2032 is going to be in Brisbane, Australia. So very much a coach now, somewhat of a coach, more of a leader, I would say, but really excited to work with our youth to get them to be really, really quick in the pool, like my friends and I were.
yeah, definitely. And as a kid, did you ever have like somebody who's doing your job that you were doing now to kind of help guide you and mentor you to lead you to 6 Olympic medals?
That person changed a lot, right? It was always, I think there was points of time where it was my coach. I thought it was points of times it was my grandfather. There was times where it was a fellow teammate. Sometimes it was just the version of myself that I was thinking about and that I wanted to be, right? But I think mentors are really important in your life. I think they guide you through a lot. A lot of times, like I'll use this line: "You never do anything extraordinary alone." And so I think that when you talk about this, like, and think about some things that you do in your life that you're like, okay, I'm gonna try this. First thing you do is call a buddy or talk to your dad or your family, and you're like, can I do this? You know, can I launch a podcast by myself? Like, is this going to happen? Like, so I think you build that team of people with you at all times. And now I'm part of that support staff for our Olympic team as we go into a home Olympic Games, man.
As you were being guided towards your first Olympics, in terms of mentorship, was there a mentor who stood out or a piece of guidance that you got from a mentor that really anchored you and your focus?
Yeah, there was a legendary coach at the University of Texas. His name's Eddie Reese. He's kind of the John Wooden of basketball, right? Coach. I mean, he has done a lot, and he's, to your point, he's really, really good with words. And one of the things that he said to me going into my first Olympic Games, because the hardest thing about that sporting event is to me, it's way harder than a Super Bowl or NBA Finals or NHL Stanley Cup Finals, because those happen every year. And Olympic Games is every 4 years. And so now you go up and you race it with this hope that you can do something you really want to do for the country in a time where you go, okay, in your mind, you're going, dude, if I screw this up, it's like 3.5 years before I get to try to do it again. Yeah. And so we have a tendency as the athlete to make the moment bigger than we are. Right. And my coach said to me, Brendan, when you look down the pool of 50 meters of water, it's still the same water. It's still wet. Just be present in the moment, feel the deck underneath your feet, and go have fun. And so I think in his way of saying it, don't make the moment bigger than you are. And I think there are moments in our lives where we have these, like, we can create a bigger moment in our head than it is. So really at that point, the best that win the medals are the ones that execute and are prepared to race at that level. Right. So I will say that when you get to that level, the mind games are much higher and harder. The mental side of the sport becomes the challenging part of it. Everybody's fast at that point. I mean, I won Olympic medals by hundredths of a second. I lost Olympic medals by tenths of a second. Right. So it's a really, really quick game.
Definitely. Are you okay if we kick it off with our first question?
Yeah, go for it, man.
All right. So you held the world record in the 100 and 200 meter breaststroke for years. What was going through your head in those final 10 meters of a race when you knew you were about to break a record?
So I swam breaststroke, and so in the stroke of breaststroke, your head comes out of water every time you take a stroke. Looks a lot like a frog. You scoop water with your forearms. Everything is symmetrical. Your arms are doing the same thing at the same time. They're not alternating like backstroke or freestyle. Breaststroke kick is the same way. The beauty of this is that every time your head comes out of water, you can hear the crowd. Every time your head goes back into the water, you can't hear anything, right? And so there were times where I was really good friends with the announcer of some of the biggest events that I went to. And so I'd always tell him, I'm like, hey, if you could ever time it and tell me that if I'm on world record pace or not, do it when my head's out of the water so that I know what's going on. And I'll be honest, like, you definitely know and you can sense, regardless of what medium you're in, water or on a field, if you're doing something right or wrong, right? And so the moments that I was breaking the world record, one, I could hear the announcer say something along the lines of like, he is on, or world record. Anytime I heard the world record, it meant I was in front of it. Or if I heard he's on, it meant I was in front of that red line, right? But then there's moments where the crowd you'd almost feel like they were so much closer to you than they were. And when you're swimming in front of 60, 70, 100,000 people, it makes the water like almost like ripple effect, and you feel it like the energy is coming down and traveling down to you, and it's incredible. And I'll say that, like, in that moment, you're just telling yourself, keep it hold, keep it together, because you're only as good as your stroke. And so you just come in and touch the wall, and then it's chaos. Like, everybody freaks out, you can't believe it, you don't process it. Takes you a few minutes to figure out what you just did.
Definitely. And I think it is kind of that's actually pretty smart to have you, because in breaststroke, isn't it like
Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
Yep.
that. I'm an okay swimmer, but I think breaststroke, in my opinion, I think it's the hardest. Even though it's kind of symmetrical, I think it just feels to me the most unnatural. Because with this, it feels like you're kind of more moving along with this. It feels like you're kind of like heaving your body. But I do think it was a smart strategy to, as you're coming up, say it and
have the announcer kind of whispering in his ear about it.
And also, when you won, was like in the last. Let me rephrase it. In the last 10 meters, could you already kind of feel victory? Or
in the last
beating the world
some
record?
races, yeah, I mean, you know that feeling that you have when you're like, you got it
It's like
before you got it, right?
You
Like,
don't know, but you know.
Yeah, right. There's a series of events prior to the last 10 meters that tell you that you're on. It's not like a realization or a moment in time when you get to the last 10 meters that you're like, oh my gosh, this is happening. This is crazy. It's like, you're hitting every marker along the way and executing a really, really good performance to where when you get to the end, you're like, I know I'm going to be close. I just don't know how close I am. Like, I broke the world record, I think it was 11 times. And so, it doesn't, I would say that, like, there were things that would light up in my head as I was going down the pool that were like, oh, that was good. Oh, I'm on it now. Oh, I'm in front of everybody. Like, and then there was affirmation all the way down the pool. Then when I get to the last 10 meters, I was like, oh, let's go. This is the best part. Like, this is like what you reap the reward of. Right. So yeah, they're definitely. Let me ask you, man, like, as a world record holder, like, what would you want to break the world record in? You could.
Great question.
That is a good question.
Have you ever thought about breaking a world record?
Maybe a couple times. Yeah.
Okay.
Because the hardest thing about breaking a world record is, like, I was talking to my wife last night about this, about something because I work with young athletes, and I was trying to tell her, I was like, I still can't wrap my head around the fact that for 12 years, I was the fastest ever. Like, the world has ever seen, any human has ever seen in the 100 and 200 breaststroke. Like, once you do that, you can't wrap your head around the fact that, like, there's a lot of people on this planet, bro. Like, right? Yeah. Like, and you go like, holy cow, I'm the fastest ever at it. And I talk to other world record holders, regardless of the sport or event or whatever, and it's the same reaction, is that you can't wrap your head around it. So I cut you off, but, like, what would be your world record, man? Like, what would you do it in? Most marshmallows in your mouth? You're gonna chubby bunny this or what?
I like all sports, but I'm mainly like a football guy.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to play linebackerish, running backerish positions. It's kind of what I am. I guess it'd be cool to have the most yards from line of scrimmage.
A running back?
Yeah. And what would be really cool is if I beat the current record, because currently my favorite player and the person I look up to is Christian McCaffrey, and I think he just beat the record for like most average yards from line of scrimmage.
One of those.
So I think that
one of those stats in there. I think I'd have to be the world record in the 100 track and field. I think that, anybody who's breaking a world record, the first thought that goes through my mind is like, what does it feel like to have that kind of athletic skill? Like, what does it feel like to be in that body? Because my athletic skill is nowhere close to that. And it looks like it feels incredible.
Well, it's not, you guys are talking about the moment, but like the follow-up question that everybody asks in this situation is, what's the world record mindset? Like, what is the mindset? I remember walking into Eddie Reese's office at the University of Texas and saying, I want to break the world record this summer. And his first response was, well, you're going to have to do more than I ask of you every single day. And so that's when I knew immediately that I was like, oh, what I've been doing is not going to get me there. And as like, and again, then I realized I'm in uncharted water, because if you want to do something that's nobody's ever done before, then you have to be willing to do something that no one's ever done. Right. And so I think that's the mentality that McCafferty has. That's what the mentality of all the greats have. That's what I learned through that process of all of that, was like, I would get to my Parkinson workout or during the day, and it would start to hurt, and I would start to think about like what was going on, and I would internalize it and go, oh, this is when everybody else stops. Like, this is when I would have stopped last year. Right. And it's like, okay, like, what's the 2.0 version of me going to do? And so like, that's the daily check-in, locked in mentality. When athletes on your podcast will say like, it's what you do when no one's watching is really what defines you as a champion, right? But it's also like, at what level and at what capacity are you willing to do it at? And are you willing to show up like today better than you did yesterday, even though yesterday's still with you because you're feeling it, you know?
Yeah.
We've had this conversation just about with athletes developing their mental game. What was that daily habit? Was there a mantra? Was there an activity to help reinforce the development of your mental capacity to push further?
It's a really good question. I was not good at this young. And I think I really try to protect our athletes now. I think you're seeing this such a higher level of investment in the mental health space now, because sports is still the best way for you to learn how to fail. Like, you go on a football field, how many times do you screw up in practice in a football practice?
Probably 90% of the time.
Right. And so you either learn how to do it by failing, or you get reward for doing it 10% of the time right? That's a weird... Every adult on the planet, bud, is going to say they have done everything in their power today to not fail. Yet you go onto a sporting field and you have no problem failing 90% of the time and walking away going like, oh man, that was awesome. That was crazy. Like, I learned something today. And so the challenge that I try to connect with athletes in and around now, looking back on the mental mindset that you need to have and the strength that you need to have, is one, you're either learning or you're winning. There is no such thing as failure. And the only way you learn is by failing. So you better be willing to get outside of your comfort zone, because the best don't have it. Like, they live on that stressful, full capacity level that they're competing at or in practice every day. You know it. You know on your team who's getting better and who's not, just by their body actions, how they act in practice. I think when I said I didn't get it right younger, is my identity as an athlete growing up, maybe like 13, 14, 15, was associated with my performance. And so I was rewarded, like I'd come home and, he won a medal or, won the baseball game or whatever through a no-hitter or something like that. My parents would be like, oh my gosh, you're the best. This is amazing. You're going to be in the paper. It's so great. Right. So I was rewarded for my performance. Or if my performance was bad, it was affecting my identity of who I was. Right. When I was a younger kid, I would say things like, I am an athlete. I am a swimmer. I am this. And then I think as I got smarter in the sport, meaning I got more mature and started to learn that mentality of that finite moment of performance was not my identity. It wasn't who I was. It really limited my ability to learn, because I think the best athletes in the world are the ones that are constantly tinkering and learning and finding ways to get better. And the only way I know how to do that is by failing. So they go to workout every day with the mentality of, I'm going to go to the limit and I'm going to see what's on the other side of it. Like,
Yeah.
because when you get to my level, everybody's good. Everybody's talented. And so I think when I got into college and started to really understand the path I wanted to go in and swim the Olympic Games and compete at the highest level possible, I switched my mindset from performance, because I was like, I can't control what the other 7 guys are going to do, right, in the 8-lane pool. So I switched my identity to I switched my mentality to more purpose driven and not performance driven. So it was like, it wasn't what I was going to go in the race. It was how I was going to do the race. So I would get up on the blocks and my mindset was, you're going to remember racing me today. Like, that was the confidence mentality I wanted to have. It wasn't, I'm going to beat you today. I was like, you're going to remember this, bro. You're going to remember racing Brendan Hansen, or you're going to remember racing United States today. Right. And it allowed me to really perform free without anything else. Right. Because again, I can't control what the guy next to me in the lane is going to do, or you can't control what the, defensive line is going to do when you compete against them. Right. But like, what if you got up there and you went down in your 3-point stance and you said straight up, you're going to remember this down. Like, you're going to remember hitting me. Like, what does that do to your brain? When I say that, what's that make you think of?
More just the process than just winning. Because I think in everything, just in life in general, it is about the process, not winning or not achieving the goal. It's about what you go through to end up achieving that goal.
Where did you learn that?
Probably, I talk with this guy a lot.
It's a lot of attitude. I mean, to me, we talk about attitude and effort a lot, and that's an attitude and effort statement. You're going to remember me means you will get my full attention, my full effort, and 100% capacity of my attitude on display every down. And
That's pretty cool.
if you're able to do that, people are definitely going to remember you. And to your point about identity, you know that you've given everything to an individual play, practice, game, what that looks like. And so it's the sum of doing that repetitiously that ultimately, drives you to success and internal success. Win, lose, if you walk off that field and you've given all of your attitude and all of your effort to every play, you have nothing to do but hang your head high.
That's why people say half the battle is just showing up. That's what that is. That's just showing up. That's like, I mean, I'll tell you, man, there's so many people that I'll go to a high level competition and sport and they're talking to you, but they're not really there. They're somewhere else. And you're like, man, you just got to find a way to be present. And I think that's what Eddie was trying to tell me in my first Olympic Games. He's like, the one thing he said to me, I was like, that's what your advice is when I go to the blocks. He was just like, the top of the blocks feel like sandpaper. Right. And he was just like, hey, like grip paper. And he was like, hey, man, just remember, like, just feel the grip on your bottom of your feet when you go up there and race. It was just like something sensory. Then I was like, you're like this world renowned coach. Like, you're not going to tell me to like do something with my stroke or anything about that. He's like, just feel the block on the bottom of your feet when you go up there and race. And he wasn't wrong. That's the crazy part, right? It's like something small that then clicks into this steamroll effect that you're talking about of like, okay, now here comes my attitude and my effort. The only two things I can control, right? Because our mind wants to go into, well, what if this? And I have to do this. Like, I think also when I like self-talk is really important too. And I think I got really good at not saying things like, well, once I became a professional, I had big time contracts and things like that. And people were expecting me to do certain things and the expectation became very, very high. I had a mentality of saying, oh, I have to go to practice and I have to do this and I have to go there and I have to do this event and I have to talk to these people. And once I started switching my mindset to I get to and not I have to, that's when I stayed on the offensive, not the defensive. Like, because sometimes we get up there in a pressure packed situation where we have to perform very high. And we're like, all right, man, well, I have to sack this guy right now or else we're not going to have the momentum. And it's like, no. If you say I get to, your brain looks at that as an opportunity and not well, what if?
Block. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
And
I think
it's more like I'm gonna go run over this ramp instead of I have to try to get over this ramp.
Yeah. We'll get to as an expression of gratitude. And gratitude is an expansive mindset. And the more that you get to, and the more that you love that you get to, the more that expands what you get to do. And you'll feel a lot of joy in the doing.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, the biggest thing that I see in our athletes today, especially with social media and all the challenges, is there's so much comparison, and comparison kills joy. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, again, I used to say things like, man, if you beat me, they're like, man, why'd you shake his hand? Like I was like, because I gave everything I had at that. And if you beat me, man, hats off to you for beating me. But like, I made it really, really hard for you to win that medal. And that's like all you, at the end of the day, from somebody who is 12 years removed from my last like high level competition, but I still live in the space. That is all you want to hang your hat on at the end of the day. It's just like, because I think my medals are somewhere in the house, but I don't really know where they are and I don't really care about them. But like, that's what I want you to learn from sport, right? Like those are the things that I want you to learn and take away from playing football and other ball sports and things like that.
Yeah. Not your Super Bowl ring, more your experience of when I intercepted or when I got that 40-yard run in the Super Bowl, you know?
Or just the effort that you put to get there.
Yeah.
That lived experience. And then the ability to be present in that experience and know that you've given it your all. That's it. If I'm understanding Brendan right, it's about the no external validation is going to equal the internal satisfaction that you have if you know that you've committed to the process, that you've put all of your attitude and effort into that process to give yourself the best possible opportunity to perform at the highest level.
It's the truth. And I'll tell you, it's not as easy as we're talking about it right now. And that whole thing, to your point of process or outcome, that is a process that you need to that a lot of people can't or won't be patient enough to really learn. Because that's the growth mindset versus the closed mindset, right? Like they'll come away from, and you can tell when they come to you after a race, or they come to you after a performance, and they can immediately follow up with excuses, right? They come at you with like, well, if I had this and if that happened, and it's like, it didn't, bro. Like that's not what happened, right? So like, I always lead with these three questions of every single person. I go, if you had to rank that game, when you get in the car, right? Let's say you get in the car after a football game, you're sweaty, you're tired, you lost by a field goal, whatever, right? And I go, hey man, what would you rank that game on a scale of 1 to 10? And you'd be like a 7. Most kids will say a 7. And the reason is because they don't want to say a 6 because it looks like they didn't try. And they don't want to say 8 because they don't want to sound cocky because they just lost the game, right? Try this. You ask any of your friends when they try anything, be like, hey man, what'd you rank practice today? They will always say 7. And I'll go, okay, well, what do you have to do to make it an 8? And they're like, wow, I just feel like we need to practice this, this, and this. And all of a sudden, now you're coaching yourself out of the victim mentality. And now you're going into opportunistic growth mindset, because I get you immediately in that space where you're like, and now what you're doing is taking ownership of the loss. And you're going into the next practice going like, if we did X, Y, and Z, we would have had a better chance of winning that game. Again, I can't control the fact that they played a great game. But again, if you're asking me, 7 to an 8 is just like 3 different moves, better communication, locked in, a timeout, right? Like just something small. I think those are what our best coaches are learning now, in how to navigate you guys in youth sports is just taking that moment to just like allow you to, because again, I think the biggest lessons I learned in my sport were ownership and accountability. Yes, I can only control what I can control. That never leaves my side, right? My attitude and my effort. But I would say that like, if I used to say, if I do a best time, it's my fault. If I do a bad time, it's my fault. Right? Like it is what it is. And so those are the things that I like now go into the real world. And those are like superpower characteristics that everybody's like, dude, where did you learn? What textbook did you learn that in? You're like, I didn't. It was in London in front of 100,000 people when I won a race by 200ths of a second.
Wow.
Wow. And on that, it's everything in life, not even just sports. Just if you're doing a math problem, 1 + 2. If you go, oh, yeah, I already know, it's 3. Maybe, like, put some effort into it. Go, oh, it's 3. Or if you don't know it, go, maybe 2. As long as you try in life and you do your best and you make it and you just try as hard as you can. And again, if you did well. Like, you could be like, oh yeah, I did awesome that game. You could have done horrible. You could have felt inside that, oh, I didn't do this. I could have done horrible inside. Maybe I did good. It's all just about try.
Yeah. Well, I think a little bit about what you're hitting on is what he says is having some internal tools for accountability to measure your effort and then to propel you forward.
Definitely.
Ask him about I'm curious about the Olympic Village. Ask him this.
All right. So, Olympic Village is legendary. What is the most surprising or hilarious thing you witnessed across living there for 3 Olympics?
Okay. So I'm going to debunk something for you. You ready?
Yeah.
I've never said this on a podcast. The Olympic Village, as it's perceived by media, mainstream media, is not how the Olympic Village is. It's not like chaos, partying, craziness, energy. Like, it is high performers. It looks like a one giant locker room of people that know on the outside of that gate is the biggest sporting event that they will ever compete in. And so there is a lot of connection. Like, it's built, the way I can describe it is it's like an apartment complex, and every building, they have all these towers, right? Each building is maybe 5 or 6 floors, and all 3 Olympics were like this. And each building or multiple buildings will be a country. And on the balconies of that country, like the balconies of those buildings will have the country flag flying. So as you're walking around the village, it looks like you're walking in a big courtyard, you're walking on a trail, there's other buildings surrounding this entire, let's say it's 30 acres, and it's all apartment complexes or buildings. And each building is a different, and you'll hear, Spanish music playing in Brazil. You'll hear, it's like cultural overload of like all this people being who they are, but also like very intentional individuals getting ready to compete at a high level. Now, I think the biggest surprise for me is, and it always happens this way, is when you remove everything else in the world and you just put all of the people in the world in one area, and there's no other external situations going on, there's like a common theme of gratitude and recognition and, hey, good luck or whatever. I say that because you will go into the cafeteria, which is a giant circus white tent that you'll go into and have all the food from all over the world. I mean, everything you possibly can have. And right smack dab in the middle of it is a McDonald's. Because McDonald's is a giant. So it's like crazy to think that you have these highest level athletes going to race and compete at the Olympics, and there's a McDonald's in the middle. But I say all that from the aspect that you'll see countries that are at war or have been at war for a long period of time walk by each other and just say hello or sit down from the table from each other, and it's no big deal. And so I think like what it reminds you of is like we're all just people. You're all going into an event. And at the end of the day, like sports is sometimes the greatest equalizer of it all. So like it's amazing to be a spectator in the village, even though you are a competitor at the Olympic Games, because you see so many different clashes of culture come together. And it's really hard to describe. I don't think I'm doing a very good job of it right now, but man, it's just so impressive and then to see how people prepare. And like it's so funny when you watch these countries that because you can go into the village a month before the Olympic Games start, and then you can stay in the village a month after the Olympics are over. And so a lot of these third world countries will come in the first chance they can because this is the most food they will ever eat. And then they'll stay all the way through. And when you get to watch somebody eat a quarter pounder with cheese for the first time, dude, it is the funniest thing, right? Like you're just like, holy cow, they're from a tribe in some part of Africa. And you're like, I know you've never eaten a chicken nugget before, and now you're eating a chicken nugget. It's crazy. I say all that from the aspect that like, I think we focus on the wrong things, or the media does sometimes, on the wrong things that happen there. There's a lot of celebration. It's really cool to see Olympic medalists come back into the village. They make a big deal out of it, regardless of what country you're for. And then I'll tell you, I remember one time in 2004, I was in Athens, and I was like, man, I remember calling my mom on the phone and her being like, does it feel like you're at the Olympic Games? And I was like, not really. I feel like I'm just at another world championship. So like another big event. And then I went to bed at night, and I woke up in the middle of the night, and all I heard was like this noise, like that noise. And I was like, what is that noise? So I went out on my balcony, and I looked out on the balcony, and there was a boxer underneath a street light in the village. And he was like shadow boxing at like 2 a.m. in the morning from another country. And I was like, yep, now I'm at the Olympics, totally. Nowhere would that ever been normal, but it just goes to show you like sometimes, but yeah, it's a really cool place, man. It's really cool.
It's cool. Well, you brought up food. I think that kind of dovetails into that question.
Yeah. So swimmers eat famously massive amounts of food in training. What was an average day's meal plan?
So on average, just to give you the overall workload, right? We're in a 7-day work week of like in the water. You had Saturday afternoon off and all day Sunday off. And then so Monday through Saturday, you did 10 water workouts and 5 dry land work. And 5, like dry land is what we call like med ball, core work type of workouts. So you'd have 2 or 3 of those, and then 2 or 3 of like heavyweight training days. And so on average, I was working out 4.5 to 6 hours a day. Like, by what I mean by working out is like my heart rate was never lower than 140 and probably somewhere in the range of like 200. Right. So a lot of calories being burned. So there's a lot of output. So you got to get the input right. I would say on average, we were around 6,000 calories a day. Like I can't even wrap my head around it now. So I would get up in the morning. I could never really eat a lot before morning workout. Morning workout would be like 6 to 8 a.m. in the morning, or 5:30 to 7:30, something like that. So my body would not want to process what I just ate. It would want to process what I ate the night before. So I would eat a lot the night before, and then I'd wake up the next morning with like kind of stored energy. And then I would go into workout and use that first off. So usually it was like a cup of coffee and just a bar, like a granola bar or Nutri-Grain bar, just something small that like at least I was putting something in my body. After that, I'd come home, and on average, it was like, I don't know, 6 eggs, 2 bagels, and like probably a bowl of oatmeal with like some kind of fruit on top of it, right? And then I would immediately eat that, and then go to sleep. And I'd sleep from 10 to 12. I'd get up. I'd make myself like 3 turkey sandwiches, some form of like, because again, I was like, I thrived like, and again, you learn what your body likes. Like I always tell people, like if you're a $200,000 sports car, you're not going to put cheap gas in your car, right? Like, so paying attention to the gas you put in your car is really important, and that's the fuel for an Olympic athlete. And so, and then I would, like 3 turkey sandwiches and then some form of like, I don't know, a snack or something like that. Just something that I would want to splurge on because I knew I was just about to go burn it off in practice. I didn't want to eat crap before I went to bed, but I knew I was like, well, if I'm going to eat crap, it can be at like 1 or 2 o'clock. And then I would go to practice, get home by 5. I would eat a full meal. Like the guys at Rudy's were like, man, this is legit. I would get a half pound of brisket, full rack of ribs, all the sides. Yeah. And then that would get me to about like 8:30, 9 o'clock. And then about 8:30, 9 o'clock, I was notorious for eating just plain ice cream, like Bluebell vanilla ice cream, because that's like the best complex carbohydrate for an endurance athlete. Or I'd eat like a half a box of cereal.
That is a day's worth of food, my friend.
Anyway, so I mean, it was just like, and then you'd snack anywhere you could. But like that was, now when you go around, like if you go around our elite training centers around the country, everywhere you turn around the corner, there's another like fuel station is what I would call it, right? To where you can grab anything. Because like that doesn't include the 4 protein shakes I would take in a day, right? So that's another 800 to 1,000 calories because each shake was 250 to 300 calories, and that was just for recovery. And then I would sleep like 8 to 9 hours a night, and then I usually slept like 90 minutes was the max that they would let us nap, because that was like the optimal amount of time to nap. Any more than that, and it's not good for you. That's what we were taught. Still the same way today. So yeah, lots of food. Don't do that now though. Definitely not. Yeah.
Do they do a lot less food?
No. I think they still eat a lot of food. Like it's crazy to me, but I'm saying like me now, I don't. Yeah, that's not in the cards.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that's good if you're actively swimming.
For what?
Swimming, you burn off the most calories. If you're just sitting in house, and not just sitting out, but not necessarily exercising a ton, probably is not good for you.
Yeah, no.
That's right.
But I had like 3
calories
roommates.
a day.
Yeah, I mean, I had 3 roommates. I had 3 roommates that were all Olympic level athletes, and we were all training at the same time. So like, just imagine the amount of trash and the amount of like dishes and like, I mean, we went through 2 eggs every morning.
That's wild.
I mean, it's just like, but at the same time, you want to play ball, dude, right? So you wait.
Yeah.
Those guys that are putting on weight or have to keep weight on, stuff like that. But now I think we've learned 2 things that are really important. One is timing. So like when you eat is really important. And then also like, I think we've gotten really good at food as a recovery aspect, because once you get to that level, like I told you, you're only as good as your next day's workout. And so it's like, what can I do today to make sure I'm better tomorrow kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. And when you were working out, was there ever like a certain workout or drill that you absolutely hated, or that like hurt your body, or that was just like annoying to you?
So we had these things called wheels, and it was a 2x4. I was maybe about 2 feet long, and it had 2 lawnmower wheels on either side of it. And we taped the middle of the type 2x4, because you put that 2x4 right at the base of your knees. And then you got into a plank position. So now instead of your feet being on the ground, the 2x4 with the wheels were there, right? And you would go like this all the way up the ramps at the University of Texas football field.
Oh my God.
We called them wheels. Yep.
Wait,
and
so you wait.
you are in a plank position. Let's just say this is my feet and this is my hands. You're going up a ramp and there's wheels right here. And so now you're just wheeling yourself up while you're in a plank position. It was
Miserable.
all core. It was, I mean, it taught you a lot. But you have to remember in swimming, it's like, think about it. If you were on a surfboard and I was not, you would always be faster than me because you had the integrity of a surfboard underneath you to guide all the energy that you're pulling water with, right? So when you're learning how to swim and you're trying to keep what I would call the integrity of your stroke, you're trying to keep your core engaged so that you have that, in a sense, surfboard underneath you. And so that's where swimmers have to focus on. Strength is great, but you also have strength to weight ratio. So like you have to really pay attention to your weight when you're in the water too. But at the same time, like if it's not connected, like if I gained 30 pounds on my squat or my deadlift, and or I gained 20 or 30 pounds on my bench press or my lat pull down or things like that, but I didn't have the core strength to connect it, it never transferred over to horsepower in the water.
Yeah.
And so that was the exercise. God, I have like PTSD thinking about it. It was rough, dude. It was rough.
Sounds miserable.
Yeah.
But
And
sometimes
also,
those are the ones that they're like the great. They're the ones that separate the good from the great, right?
yeah, and also in football, I go to the gym twice a week.
Well, he goes to train for the game too.
Yeah.
Oh, he does?
I'm there, man. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. We do, we sometimes do, I think it's like dead walks or
Yep.
dead stuff. Yeah, it's where you have sliders on. It's like that. You're playing, you have sliders on your feet, and you just walk like this while you're sliding.
The sliders are the worst, aren't they?
I know they hurt.
Yeah.
It really
You
does.
do the
Burn your
accordion
core.
one, like the in and out one,
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, where you're on the and you
Yeah.
put your knees in, out, in.
Yeah.
Those are tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are
I
tough.
like working out there, man. And that's the funny thing is like when I go and work out there and like all the the CITs, the trainers that are in there and stuff like that, they're always like,
Yeah.
they don't know who I am, right? And that's great. I don't really care for them to know, but like I still have the same mentality of going in there and going to the max and then failing and then figuring out how to improve even through a workout, right? And so like all the trainers, they know me well now, and they're like, oh, this is just like, and I'm like, they're like, it's not normal, and I'm like, no, it's my normal, right? Like it's my normal way of doing it. And so it's always interesting. But I'll tell you, man, I love that gym. And I think it just like keeps me accountable. I like the fact that there's people in there that are energized to be excited to go work out and challenge their bodies. And it's fun, man.
Yeah, for sure. So you famously lost your 2008 Beijing gold medal
Here's
on a
the hard
flight
hitting
home
question. Yeah.
from a party
journalism
near
is
Philadelphia
coming.
to Austin. Can you tell us that story?
Sure. It's hilarious. So I was sponsored by Nike at the time, right?
Yeah.
And they made us a special backpack for Olympians when you were traveling with your medals. And so I am flying from Beijing. I fly to Beijing, from Beijing to San Francisco. And then I'm flying from San Francisco to Philly, where I'm originally from, because there's a big parade in Philadelphia for me and all the other Olympians that were there. And so my girlfriend at the time was with me, who is now my wife. And I have my backpack, and I get into CFO. I get into San Francisco, and we get into customs, and we get out. And I mean, the Olympics are still going on, right? Like they're still happening in Beijing. But like when you come home, you are like this superstar god for like 6 weeks, and then everybody forgets about the Olympic Games and moves on to the next note, right? And so in the TSA section, like going through to get, and the lady's like, sir, you have a belt buckle or something in your backpack? Like, we need to go check it out. I was like, sure, whatever, you can look at it. Well, she pulls it out, and it's the Olympic gold medal from Beijing. I literally won it like less than 48 hours ago. And she's like, oh my gosh. Well, then it like draws a crowd. Everybody comes over. They're all holding the medal. They're all freaking out or whatever. And I'm just like telling my girlfriend, I'm like, dude, we're going to miss our flight. Like, people are asking me for my autograph, they're taking pictures, whatever. And I'm like, I have got to get on this flight. I have to be at an event tomorrow morning at 8:00. And so when I grabbed the medal back from the lady, I just, like, the Nike backpack, like at the lower part of the back had a zipper pocket that you like put it into. So like nobody could like pickpocket you. It was like right there. You'd always feel it. Right. Well, I just grabbed the medal and threw it into the water bottle slide that was on the side there. And I was like, I'll just put it back into that pocket when I get to the gate. So I never put it into the gate. I never put it back in when I got to the gate. So when I got onto the plane, I just took my backpack and put it underneath the seat in front of me. And when we took off, my medal just rolled out of the backpack.
Oh no.
And went like 10 rows back. Well, we land in Philadelphia. We get out and I'm like, babe, I told my girlfriend, I was like, hey, like, my medal is not in my backpack. Like, I don't know where it is. I was like, I didn't leave it at TSA, did I, in San Francisco? And she was like, no, it was like so chaotic. And I was like, she's like, no, I don't think you did. And I was like, well, then it's on this plane. And so I get up to the front of the stewardess. I was like, ma'am, I lost something like really valuable on this plane, like really, really valuable. And she's like, is it an engagement ring? Because like my girlfriend is right there. And I'm like, no, it's not. I was like, it is. I was like, it's an Olympic gold medal. Well, then they just start tearing up seats. The whole plane just started tearing up seats. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so they don't find it. I get off the plane, I file a report or whatever. I literally get into the limo to go to the event, and on the phone, like, literally the president of the United States calls on my phone, and it's like, do you accept it? I was like, yeah. And he's like, Mr. Hansen. It was President Bush. I'd seen him in Beijing, and he was just like, hey, Brendan, he's like, don't worry about it. We're going to get you a medal. If we don't have that medal, don't worry about it. We'll get your medal. And I was like, okay, no problem. I was like, I appreciate it. Well, what ended up happening was a girl had it rolled between the girl's feet, like 5 rows back. And she like looked at it and was like, and then we look at the medal, the bottom of it, it's engraved, and it's engraved with the event that it is. And she's like, I saw this and was like, oh my gosh, I'm not just going to give this back to the airlines because I don't know where it's going to go. So she just held on to it. And then later on, I guess I had Facebook. I didn't know I had Facebook, but she like messaged me on Facebook, but I didn't know I had one. And she was like, hey, I think I have something that's yours. And I was like, I didn't know it, whatever. But long story short, we ended up connecting. And we both, even though I was going from, this is the crazy part. We're going from San Francisco to Philadelphia. And we actually both lived in South Austin, less than like maybe 10 minutes from each other. We ended up meeting up at that Slaughter HEB in South Austin, and she handed the medal back over to me. So yeah, it was a crazy moment. And then like the Today Show got a big deal out of it. They brought us out and they were like, tell us a story. And I'm like, yeah, it was a mess. But
yeah. And what a small world that you guys were practically neighbors.
Yeah. And I was like, wait, what is going on? So it just, I don't know, man. That's why I always say that like sports is the greatest connector I know. Like it always connects people regardless of what it is, like good or bad story or whatever. It always works its way out to where it's like somebody in sport was like, man, wow, that's a small world. You play ball? Like, like.
Cool.
Crazy.
Yeah. Funny. You're like, oh, I got a call. You're like, huh, it's George Bush. He's like, that's funny. Like,
yeah.
Like,
yeah, it was.
Is this a scam call? Like,
no,
no, this is President George.
Yeah, it calls and it says, do you accept a call from the president of the United States? And you're like, yes, I do. Who says no to that question? And you're like, yeah.
I don't know if you're even allowed to say no.
I know, right? Yeah, exactly.
Totally.
But it was, it was a scary moment for sure. But I've had friends lose them too, and I got a buddy, Gary Hall Jr., that like his medals burned in the LA fire, and the Olympic Committee like gave him new ones, which I thought, I think is cool. Like,
very cool.
So yeah, I mean, you take care of them and stuff like that. You don't really want to lose them, but it's not the end of the world if you do, because they'll make them, or I think they make like an extra 10% of the medal overall. Because in Paris in 24, the medals were breaking. And so they had to go back and like give them back out. They were cool though. The ones in 24, they had pieces of the Eiffel Tower in them.
Oh, wow. Very cool.
Yeah, it was really neat.
And also, isn't you know what I just kind of found out? The Olympic gold medal is like, isn't it mainly like bronze or silver?
It's mostly copper.
Copper. That's what it was.
Yeah, and so, or it's like it's crazy. So my Athens medal is like from Greece is like pretty small. It's maybe it's hard to describe how small it is. It's maybe like 3 inches in diameter, and then it's probably like 2 inches in diameter, and then the one in Beijing is like 2.5, and then the one in London is 3. But the most gold is the one in Athens. That one has the most gold because they wanted to like replicate the original Olympic Games medal, and so like our society now, bigger is better, right? And so now you want this big old hunk of metal. But what's crazy is like that medal is probably and then I think the silver medal is almost all silver. At least mine is, because it's turned a little bit. And then my favorite medal is the bronze medal.
Really?
That's my favorite medal.
Why?
Because in 2012, I had retired in 2009 and 10. In 2012, I came back and I thought, like, man, everyone's going to be so excited I come back. And when I came back, everybody was like, you don't need to come back. We don't need you. And I was like, wait, what? Like, everybody was like, you're not good enough. Even Eddie Reese, like, I went down to the University of Texas and like got to the pool and I was like, hey, I'm coming back. And he's like, no, you're not. He's like, I got 3 guys on the water that can beat you right now. And then so I was like, I'm just going to get in the water and start training with them. And I was just like, I can't wait for permission on this wheel. If I'm going to do it, I got to be all in. And so to make a really long story short, I go 2011, I train all the way through. I get to like top 5 in the world. And then 2012, I make the Olympic team. And now I'm in the final, or I make it through qualifying. I get into the final and I'm in lane 8. And nobody ever medals out of lane 8. It's like, the best swimmers are always going to be in the middle of the pool because they have control over the rest of the water. Everybody else has to deal with your waves. So kind of think of it as like, if you want clear water, be in the middle of the pool. If you don't want clear water or be in the whitewash, you're going to be in lane 8. And so I remember I was the captain of the team and we did a team meeting before we went out there. And I was like, guys, I'm the first event of tonight and we have 7 chances to win Olympic gold medals. And I was like, I don't know whether I'm going to win or not. I was like, but I gave the speech of just like, they're going to remember racing me. I was like, the last name that they're going to hear, they announced lane 8 last, is my name in the United States of America. And so when I won the bronze medal, which I was the first Olympian ever to medal out of lane 8 in swimming, we won every Olympic gold medal the rest of the night. The team went nuts. Like, it was cool. Like, and I was like, yeah. So sometimes it's not the color of the medal, it's the story behind the medal, right? And that one, like, I don't even take it out. Like, when I do events and things like that, that one is mine. Like, I don't really, that's one that's like, the gold medals are been dropped and they're, banged up, and kids have, I'm doing an event tomorrow night where a bunch of kids will hold them and stuff like that. But like, the bronze is like still as clean as it was the first day I got it.
Near and dear.
Yeah. It's just one of those things where like, it's what it means to you. Right. And that's the cool part. I look at it, I'm like, I defied the odds there, mindset. What we started the whole podcast with.
That's right. You want to hit him with the last question, Dylan?
Yeah, sure. If you had to give 9-year-old Brendan life advice, what would it be?
I would tell him always be learning. Because as soon as you think you're beatable. That's the first thing I would tell them. Because in your life, you're going to get to there's multiple times in my life where I was like, I got it figured out. And as soon as I said that, I lost. And so I think if I would tell them, like, just be obsessed with learning. And then 2, I would say, write down what you value the most about who you are before you write down a goal.
Why is that?
because I think goals come and go, and I think they're the wrong. Again, it's back to the process of like, but goals are outcomes, and I think what you value is what is going to be your authentic self. And when you are in the most pressure-packed, emotionally charged moment in your life, that's the person that's going to show up. The authentic person that is who you are. So every bad habit you have, everything that you've ever done wrong is always going to show its ugly face in the moment that you want it to not show up. And so I wish I would have written down the things that I valued the most before I wrote down at goal time when I was 9 years old. Because then I would have always known who I was in a moment. Because I think the best way to become the highest potential athlete you can become is working on yourself before you work on your sport.
And
Yeah, definitely.
I love that. We haven't had any advice come anywhere close to that. And I love that advice. Be obsessed with learning and really understand your values and who you are before you set out to achieve a goal. And be anchored in who you are. And if you get that core alignment on the inside right, your ability to kind of push through, I think, giving yourself a sense of purpose. And what a great anchoring life advice. Obsessed with learning and clearly defined values and sense of self.
Yeah, to put a bow on it, it's just the best exercise to find out what you value the most, because it's hard to self-reflect on that. But if you're like, all right, Dad, I want to write values down on a piece of paper, take a piece of paper, put 3 columns down. On the first column, write down everybody that you look up to. Every mentor, it doesn't have to be somebody you even know. It could be, a famous writer, famous football player, whatever, your mom, your dad, whatever. But put everybody down, people, on the first column. On the second column, put down all the characteristics and actions of why you put that person over there. I like this person because they're good all the time. They find a way to win when nobody else wants them to. They love everything. They always look at the good in stuff, right? Like, put in the second column, write down everything that it is. And then on the third column, just look at all the things you wrote in the second column and just put down, what are the big themes of all of that, right? Is it they're all confident, they're all consistent, they all have purpose, they're all present in the moment, right? Those will be your values and what you write. So you gravitate to people, and the reason you have mentors is because you gravitate to those people that you want to be, because they resonate with the values that you have as a person. It's not just because you're like, I want what they have. You do it because you're like, I see myself in that person. That's what I want to be. That's the kind of values I have. And so that'll be a good exercise for you to play. And I promise you, man, you will exceed any expectation you have in yourself if you create that exercise now at the age of 9. That's a huge what if. If I had done that as a 9-year-old, you know how fast I would have been, bro? I would have been so good. You know how many medals I would have? I could lose as many as I want. It didn't matter.
He wouldn't have broken the world record 11 times. It'd have been 15 times.
Yeah. So
above and beyond.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we can't thank you enough for carving out some time with us on a Tuesday evening and sharing all of your experience and insights and wisdom. This has been truly a special 45 minutes, an hour. I can't thank you enough.
Yeah, man. It's awesome. Keep it rolling, bud. You got great questions.
Thanks.
Yep.
Thanks so much.
Awesome. Well, we'll let you go for the evening. Thanks again so much.
Thanks
we really
so much.
appreciate it. Thanks,
It was
Brendan.
awesome.
All right. I'll see you guys at Trophy again.
He's gone. He could go all the way.
But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs?
We talking about practice.
You play to win the game.
Playoffs?
It's like taking poison, like rat poison.
It's the